You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
Right. Welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, every Monday night right here, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on 94.9 FM, 950 AM dial, The Answer. And we have myself, Richie Kidwell, and we have Hans Kennon. What's going on, Hans?
Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. So you just announced we'll be here Mondays from 7 to 8. And,
I did.
But in fact, we're making a change.
We are. And I announced it last week, and sadly to say, well, at least only just for this radio show, Hans and I are moving back over to podcast only and to more of intimate interview style kind of situation. Did you say White Sox?
No, I said bite size.
Ah, there you go.
A little small, a little shorter, a little more condensed.
Yeah. Because I took you more for a Mets fan than the White Sox. So all right, but anyways, so it's what we're doing. It's tough out there in the radio world, but we're moving back to podcasts. So expect more color, more cussing, more in depth. Just kidding on that last part. Interviews with the folks that are in our industry. So as far as this show is concerned, on live radio, 94.9 or 950 on the AM dial, this is our last show. So we thank you, our listeners who do tune in. Looking forward to our show as we give great information. But check us out over on our YouTube page. That's you'll find us. Or if you're a iTunes or Spotify listener, we're on those streaming sites as well. So we're really going to focus on our YouTube side of things. Obviously, we'll still be on our streaming venues as well. More of those, like Hans said, bite-sized shows as we go. More in-depth interviews, more detail or concise topics on whatever we're discussing, and so I think that's better on the show. It's a lot to consume. It's 1 hour long, so if you're listening into on the Spotify or even YouTube, it's hard to keep your full attention through the entire show. So even as animated and right here as savvy as we are,
as locked and loaded as we may be, an hour is still a long time.
It is. So I think it's a good thing. Change is evolution. Evolution is just part of the world, part of progression,
except for the dinosaurs.
Right. I mean, they progressed. They did very well.
They got like 5 motion pictures now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And continuing. I mean, Jurassic Park continues to cover that. But yeah, still displayed in our today in all of our museums. I'm always excited about change, new opportunity after I get over the big moment of that change. But I do see it as a great thing. And again, enabling us to bring out our reach even further. We've had a couple of folks on a Zoom type of situation here where we bring in the laptop, different connectivity in our podcast room. We have television screens that we can bring in other folks. We have cameras there in the podcast room where we came from. We were in a podcast room, then we came over here so we can record for the future shows and also be live on the radio. So that's why we're transitioned over to here. I do love live radio. I do love that mix of, as we do say, of bringing this complex world to the general public so they can understand. Consumers usually learn everything from their contractor. And being in the restoration and the contracting industry, it's important for us to all be on the same page. What everybody's doing and saying in the industry is what that industry profession calls for, right? I mean, that is what the norm is, as they say. So, and so we keep it real. We keep this industry knowledge here within not only our association with the Restoration Association of Florida, who we're sponsored by, but to consumers, so they understand when we're coming into storm season. And we go take it a little bit further, and we have insurance folks here to help us better understand the policies that exist here in Florida, how to shop them, what to look for. The last guest that we had on here is they have public adjusting, and they sell policies, husband and wife.
Yeah.
One does one does the other. And what a great service to add to them. They say if you're an insured with them and you buy their insurance through them, and they hook you with one of the carriers because they're an agent, and there's a loss, they will represent you for free.
Yeah, it's great.
That is fantastic. It's having an agent on your side all the time, even though the insurance companies will say that they're not your friend, they're not a good neighbor, and we know this. Hans is a board certified attorney, and of course he only sees it when they get to that point of contention. But you're also helping folks out pre-litigation.
Oh, sure.
To get them settled out before a lawsuit has to get filed.
No, absolutely. And one thing with the agents, one thing about agents is they tend to be price shoppers for their clients, I think, and aren't always as willing to be stronger with their client and say, you need this coverage, you got to have it, instead of just going, well, what do you want to pay? Well, we all want to pay less. I mean, there's not a question about that. The question is, at what point have you actually purchased a policy of no insurance? There was a case many years ago, I think it was Globe Disability. It was some of those weird policies, but literally it provided no benefit. And even the courts, when it went up on appeal, basically they were complaining that it didn't provide benefit, and the court said, well, if you read it, it tells you it actually is a policy of no insurance. And a lot of the policies we see these days are moved closer and closer to policies of no insurance. I had one today. They have a matching exclusion, and most people are going to go, what does that mean? Does that have to do with my silverware or my plate set? Now, if you have undamaged material next to damaged material, used to be you got the whole thing replaced. Now there's policy restrictions that only pay for a percentage.
If it was a set, such as,
like a roof, like flooring, like cabinetry, anything that is next to each other and one's damaged and one is not. Again, you would typically in a replacement cost policy get it all replaced so it all matches, it all is new, and all those things.
Like the statute says.
Well, exactly. But they have now is I had one today again with a 1% matching. So the house was valued at about $438,000. They had $404,380 worth of matching coverage. So when you think about it, if your kitchen gets damaged, seldom is it every cabinet, right? It's not all the flooring. It's not all the roof. There's a percentage that is damaged sufficient to require it all to be replaced.
Sure.
But now they can limit what they pay for it. So that is a big money saver for you as the consumer until you need it.
Right. Well, until your floor gets damaged. But, but take me through this, though. If interlocking flooring gets damaged in the middle of floor, how in the world are you going to replace just that one damaged area without replacing all of the floor? Because, again, it's interlocking. Functionally, it has to then be interlocked. I get the idea of having standalone floor, either tiles or pieces of wood that are not then that have to be interlocked and all the way to the next edge of the room, and then encased then with baseboard and caulking and such like that. So if you have standalone flooring or whichever, I get the idea of saying, okay, let's replace the damaged, and then you then sand the top and paint the top of all the other existing wood so then it's all matching. I get that, but interlocking floor, walk me through that.
Well, interlocking floor, like a glue down floor, similar also, where
it's floating or
but it's already made into one piece, like I said, by the interlock or by glue down or something that makes it no longer individual tiles, individual shingles, individual pieces of flooring.
Right.
Once you lock it all together, then it all has to be replaced. So you have to treat it as a single unit, not as a bunch of individual units.
Right.
So that'd be an argument you'd make. You'd say, well, look, the matching my matching endorsement says only a 1% for matching. We're not matching anything because it's all damaged because you have to take it all out at once. You can't do it piece by piece. Roofing's a bit of the same way. But even there, it's the same thing. Seldom do you have the entire roof be blown off. You have a percentage of the roof blown off. What's interesting is Florida Building Code, used to be much more stringent, but now it's not as much anymore. It used to be an absolute. If you had 25% of your roof surface damage, you got a new roof from your insurance company. Now they've kind of softened that position a little bit. But either way, once that you get over 20, so the question would be is, I have 26% of my roof damage. Well, that means 75% isn't, but the insurer's not going to pay under this endorsement to replace the rest of my roof, only 1% of it, only up to 1% of the value. I mean, it's those types of things that are big money savers for the insurance company, less of a money saver for you. But if you say to your agent, look, I want to pay as little as possible, they're going to start getting you policies that have limitations, exclusions, restrictions, matching limitations, things that you don't think about until the problem arises. And all of a sudden you're like, what do you mean I don't get all my floor replaced? What do you mean I don't get all my roof replaced? What do you mean I don't have matching cabinets in my kitchen anymore? Those are all the things that the agents tend to do. I think it was Tony Busby, I think the other week. I think it was his name, the guy who was here, the agent. And he was quite the advocate. And he was someone who would tell you, this is what you need. And again, what you need may cost a little more than what you want. But the reality is, if you save yourself $300, $400 a year, and if everyone has a loss as they do every 10 years or so, and you have a $25,000 floor that's damaged, and they're going to pay $4,000 of it, all of a sudden the savings really have gone out the window.
Right. Sure. And I don't get that on the roof either. You're talking about the percentage there, because if there's a hole in the roof, meaning that you're seeing yellow stains on the inside of your home, then that means that vapor barrier has been breached.
Yes.
And from my understanding, I'm not a roofer, but from my understanding, you can't just replace the tile or the shingle right over top of that hole or the breach. You'd have to go all the way up to the next ridge so you can replace the underlayment all the way up to that ridge, because you have to stack it on top and then the next one underneath on top, and go from the ridge down. Right. So,
and a lot of that's based on age of the roof too. I mean, there's always a bit of conventional wisdom, and there's things that no one agrees about. Basically, up until about 7-8 years of age, you can usually replace an individual shingle. Again, assuming you don't have water coming in, because then that changes everything. If you simply have a damaged shingle, you can usually still get under there, but then what can happen, it can do what's called creasing, which is where the shingle you're lifting to get the one underneath kind of breaks its back. Then you go, I got to go up one more. And you keep going up and up and up and up, and all of a sudden you go from one shingle to this huge like triangle of going up all the way to the ridge. And at that point, you may have to they may give you a new roof because you've been unable to repair the roof. I mean, I tell clients all the time on younger roofs, look, if the insurer wants you to try the repair, go try it. They're paying for the repair. Go give it a try. And often the repairs will fail. And then you go back to the insurer and you say, look, we did what you said. It didn't work. I got a ton of crease shingles now. Let's re-inspect and get back to it. And we often are successful then in getting the roof replaced.
And most people, especially if I was in that position, would want a warranty with it. And if that roofing company couldn't issue that warranty and just say, no, it's a repair, we can't warranty this repair, because bare minimum, I would need to do actually all of this to be able to make a guarantee. So I wonder where that comes in play. But I know you're talking about the matching statute and that, or matching endorsement. Yeah. And so, and many of these companies are, and more are starting to offer. At first, it just with just a few, and now, from what I understand, there are more and more policies or insurance companies offering this type of policy. Are there companies, and who knows? I know you're not an agent, but I mean, are there companies that offer both? I mean, where at least you can purchase this for a little bit more, or are insurance companies saying, I'm sorry, this is all we have to offer?
Well, I mean, as I was telling in law school, the two things, as I'm allowed to say is I don't know and it depends. Certainly certain endorsements and certain HO3 policies, the policy most of us have who are homeowners, there is usually some amount of, well, I don't want that endorsement, I don't want this endorsement. And there's usually somebody who will sell it to you. But most insurance policies are what are known as contracts of adhesion, which is a nice way of saying you're stuck with it. And so they'll say, as you just said, well, this is what we offer in Florida. and it'll have whatever it has in it, because those are the amendments that have been approved by the Office of Insurance Regulation. So sometimes you can get certain things included, excluded, change deductible amounts. Sometimes underwriters will allow you to not have certain things based on age of the home, type of material used for roofing, the type of material the home is made out of, all those things. But pretty much most of the insurers say this is our quote unquote standard policy here in Florida. In fact, you may in fact be stuck with that. If your agent, I was talking to an agent over the weekend, and he was just starting out after being with Farmers.
Thank
you. And he only had about 3 carriers with him last year. He's now up to 15. So one thing we always talk about is shopping the agent, is making sure that your agent has, because if you walked into my friend's place and said, hi, I need homeowners insurance, he'd go, sure. And he'd only have 3 companies. Now he's got 15. Some people have 20 or 25. So you want to know how broad a net does your agent cast.
That's right.
If they got 25 carriers, 25 insurers that can provide you a quote, then you have more power than you do if they got 3.
Sure.
And the agent that's next door to you, the agent next door to him might have completely different insurance companies. So again, you want to shop your agent, find out who they have, and they can just typically they can give you a list of who they have. And just want to make sure that you go to the next guy and see what he's got something different. So you got to look. It's not like the old days when nobody cared about property insurance, because all the policies actually were the same and they weren't bad, and none of them were overly expensive except for Chubb, and pretty much you got what you were getting with everybody. And now there's very, very broad distinctions from policy to policy, from the roofing schedules we talk about to all those things, which just again only pop up after you need them and after you thought you made a good deal on your insurance.
All right. Which you don't hear too many of those good stories much, especially anymore since the heavy law changes 2022 and 2023. We've seen just emboldened insurance companies there defending whatever they can, spending all kinds of money to do so. I think you even said it last week, Hans, about the difference of non-litigated claims and litigated claims and what they pay out.
Yeah.
The problem is that actually changes things when there's a chilling kind of factor in the industry as a whole, when now homeowners are freaked out just to file a claim because they're like, oh, I had such a hard time getting insurance prior to, or my only choice was Citizens and how bad they are. So there are more insurance companies in the state of Florida now because it's like a no recourse state, really. There's no assignment of benefits able for a contractor to stand in the shoes of the insured and bill directly to the insurance company as there was prior to 2022. And so there's also no prevailing party attorney's fees homeowner. And that's important because there's no hammer. There's no reason for the insurer to move forward on making payment, because at their worst day today, and the way the law is now, is their worst day is paying what they should have paid on day one. Right. So why not push it off to the next quarter, the next year, whatever, however they want to work their numbers. That's all they do. And as you know, and you've said it before, they're really good at numbers. Yes. And that's what they're great at. And if you're not in that covenant, whichever, or that special period in which they're paying claims that quarter, but they're not paying claims next quarter so they can move the numbers around. Well, if you're just so lucky to be in that, then good for you. If you're not, then that's what you are. It's just a number. But we then, with our experience and you, Hans, suing insurance companies for homeowners, it's funny when people ask us, well, what insurance company do you like? And your scale is, which one do I sue the least? And I'm like, which ones do we come in contact with the least? The ones that are contesting them mostly is what we end up seeing. Me as an expert as being called in to then go against that insurance company on behalf of the homeowner and say, no, this is what really happened. And having proper insurance coverage in the state of Florida is important. Getting away from Citizens Insurance is important in the state of Florida. They should be the insurer of last resort. We're not picking on them for any other reason except for they are supposed to be the insurer of last resort. And it used to be 3 strikes, you're out, and then you get, you try 3 different insurance companies. If they all say no, then you have the ability to go to Citizens. Right. Well, then everything changed a few years ago, and it was like all of a sudden Citizens was like what everybody went to only because they were capped at on their increases, and everybody else was not capped.
Well, let me talk about that. Was when it went from a couple 100,000 policies up to, I believe, their maximum ever was 1.4 million. That's just about a year and a half ago.
Right.
They're back down to about 300,000 at the last count that I've seen.
That's right.
So 1.1 million people were with Citizens. And I'll tell you, like you said, get away from Citizens. If Citizens is the only one who'll take you, honestly, there's something wrong with your home.
Sure.
Either where it sits or its condition. And if you want to save money on your insurance and safeguard your home and your family, odds are you need a new roof. So however you want to get that, you got to pay for it. If there's a time you think that's a good time to make a claim. But you get a new roof on your house, you'll have options you didn't have before.
Sure.
And you have a much lower premium than you didn't have before. And that premium savings may be enough to offset the cost or some of the monthly payments for the roof. And as I always say, roofs aren't fun. Like roofs aren't a man cave. They're not a pool. They're not a new kitchen. They're not even a new bathroom. No one brings their friends over. Hey, wait, whoa, hey, look at that new roof.
Yeah, take a step back. Look at that thing, man. That's shiny.
It's a beauty.
Yeah.
But the reality is that is the fundamental thing that protects you, your family, and all your possessions from trouble. So if you have a 15, 16, 18, I had a lady the other day had a 22-year roof, and it didn't leak. And I'm like, ma'am, and she was upset that she had to get a new roof. And I said, you've really gotten full value. At year 22, I realized nobody wants to put money again towards something that's not fun. But I said, this has protected your home for all those years. I said, and they're going to non-renew you, which I know you feel is unfair, but there is a point, even for the insurers, where they're entitled to go, look, that it's just too long. It's just too long. You got to get it done.
And I think there's also there's a statute that was put in 2023 that said if you have 5 years of life expectancy left, then you cannot be non-renewed by your insurance company. So that should be the next step for her, right? If she calls an inspector, a roof inspector under the statute is available to it's able to do so, and they get an inspection that says there's 5 years or more, then she should be able to renew her insurance. If they come back and say, oof, it really is the end of life. It's 22 out of a 25-year life
in
expectancy plan. Yeah, and you're in Florida. Well, then I think it makes sense. Like some of our guys that we've had in here that are roofers, they offer this in-home or second-party, third-party, whatever financing to where it makes sense for them to do that. And like you said, Hans, I mean, if they were going from paying $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year, I mean, you're going to have a dramatic decrease the next year. I mean, more than half of that, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
With a brand new roof. And so, for instance, my Punta Gorda place down there had a new roof after the hurricane, and it was like $1,000 a year. And I'm like, look around, look left and right. I'm like, is this real?
Right. They missed the zero or.
Yeah, something.
It really is, though.
It's like it was $1,800 for the year. It was as cheap as insurance that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, really, what it comes down again, we always talk about roofing, and just because it is fundamental to the home. So if you have a 22-year-old roof that's not leaking, you know what it is? It's about to leak. If it's not leaking today, it's going to leak tomorrow, or the next storm's going to hit. It's not going to take a lot, most likely, to break that roof loose and really have some substantial trouble. I talk to people all the time. I go, look, if you get a denial letter, come see me. I mean, if they open coverage and underpay you, come see me. We'll try to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to know, especially as this being our last show and for our listeners, to get your email address, make sure they stay in contact with you, get your phone number, get your phone out, put attorney in there, denial, call me, that kind of thing, and be ready. And Hans, I think it's good for you to give out all of your information, especially this being our last night on the show. Stay in contact, send policies or any type of questions that they might have to yourself. How do we get a hold of you?
Sure. It's Hans Kennon. It's Hans. Kennon, Kennon. It's Hans at KennonLaw.com. Try to make it as easy as possible. The phone number for the office is 888-878-4267. You may go 4267. It's really hard to remember, but it's 888-878-HANS, HANS. So that way you always keep it in mind. Again, emails.
Yeah, I only have one Hans in my phone.
Oh, there you go. Actually, I have two now. I have myself, obviously, because I got to remember where I live and everything. Sure. And you need to look it up every once in a while.
You know another Hans? That can't be confusing.
I do, and he's with Koala Roofing, and his name is Hans. And the guy called me and said, "Hey, I'm putting a roof on with a guy named Hans." I'm like, "No way." No. And I call the guy, I go, "Hi, it's Hans." And he's like, what?
This is awkward. I thought I was on. Oh, man, so awkward. I love that. Well, thank you for giving out that information. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll continue to give out mostly some of your contact information. So if you miss us here, and with directions to find us also on our YouTube page. So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back live on Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell right here. Our final night, our finale, grand finale here, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. The Answer. Our last show here on Monday nights, but not the last show ever. We are on streaming. We're on Spotify, iTunes, and on our YouTube page. We even have a website, contractortalkpodcast.com is where you'll find all the links to everything. We are sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida, raflorida.org. We are a contracting group basically in this industry to inform not only our own association of members, but to enhance each other via networking, power teams, and introducing this information to consumers as we all are on the same page or helping each other out in the time of need. Many of the folks that we deal with are in their one time every 10 years or once in a lifetime where they're having to deal with a major property damage claim. And they need folks like my company as an expert company of both indoor quality stuff, mold testing, asbestos, lead, forensic structural engineering. Check us out, airqualityassessors.com is where you'll find us. As we are kind of like doing our last night here, best way to reach me, info at raflorida.org. We do, and I do oversee that email address. So if you're interested in anything that we have or a question that you have or follow up from the radio shows or any of our previous shows, hit me up there, info at raflorida.org. If you have a question, you want to talk about membership, you want to come on the show, have a question about the show, or even have a question for Hans Kennon, I'll be happy to forward that info over to you. Hans did give out his information as well. In case you do have a policy question, a claim question, not only, Hans, do you do property, but you do auto, even life, disability, not disability. I don't know did I say that right?
Yeah, disability. I mean, life insurance claims, disability, typically long-term over short-term. But yes, we do anything where your insurer has denied or underpaid your claim.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
And I guess we didn't really talk about it, but I also have a personal injury department also, because I spent all those years at the intergalactic largest personal injury law firm. And so we have that also. So we also will provide for auto accidents, premises liability, medical malpractice. We do all those things also at our place. Again, the focus is always on property.
Sure.
But yeah, anything with personal injuries, we also handle that.
That's great, man. Yeah. And many of our guests that we've had over the years and even the past year or so here on this radio show, great guests that have, that we always say that's such a great niche and a specialty in which they're in. So I'm thankful to have those guests. So if, we do label those pretty well. So if you're looking at, man, I really want to hear one of the shows that we've had previously, Hole in the Wall Drywall, one of our famous shows. He was just on last week. What a great niche. We've had electricians, we've had plumbers, we have roofers, and different specialty niche in the roofers too. We've had a roofer on here that if you're selling your home and you can't afford to do it, they'll put the roof on now. Mm-hmm. You sell your home and the roofer gets paid at closing.
Yeah. Great service.
What a great niche to be, because you're going to sell your home. The last thing you want is you get the inspector out and be like, hey, your roof is trash, and they're now trying to negotiate $50,000 off for a $20,000 dollar roof. So now you're like, oh man, here I am trying to sell it. I thought that was great. Yeah. You have the folks that offer the financing to get it done while you're waiting on your insurance claim to pay out.
Yeah.
So they kind of run that with you, where they say, okay, I need to get my roof done now before storm season. But insurance companies being being, a pain in the butt. So they need you to file suit on them, but
Right.
suit's going to take 1 or 2 years. So, they can get the roof done now after the inspections happen. So we've had those type of folks on here. Just great resources. Talking about handyman as well, to insurance folks that help you, point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
We'll even back you up if you have a claim for no charge. Just great folks that we've had over the year. So very appreciative of being on this radio show. And, and other folks that we've been able to have on the show here, that they get exposure to people that like to listen to this radio show. This radio show is from what I heard from the previous show, is that it is available on Roku. And since that partnership or acquisition went through with they say Fox News and Roku. I was listening on the way here.
I did not know that. So there you go.
And so that's interesting that many different platforms that you can consume this show. You can hear other talk radio that's on before us, after us, that kind of thing. So pretty cool, and I think a great opportunity, for others that have been on the show as well, to have a different platform to, get in front of a different listenership, as we say. And for us, more of a focus on YouTube. I think that makes sense for, way things are moving forward in a more, I can take you mobily kind of situation, right? I mean, I can listen to you streaming this way. I can listen to you or watch you on YouTube and still plug in an earpiece or something. You don't even need the plug anymore in the earpiece, so all Bluetooth. Different ways for us to for the listeners to consume the show. And we've talked about it, Hans. I think it makes a lot of sense for us to do more pointed TED Talk types of shows. Gets right to the point, gets right down to the nitty gritty in what we're discussing. So I think it makes a lot of sense in that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm just reminiscing, so to speak, and being thankful. At the table and during Thanksgiving dinner, we would all go around and say what we're thankful for, and so for this show, I'd have to say, this is the Last Supper. There you go. We can thread in all kinds of things here. But I could say I am grateful. I'm thankful for the show, the people that work here, our producer, the people that are on before us. It's just a great group of people here at Salem. Always has been. My dealings years before, when I was on Salem on a different radio station, and so just great people here. And for us, the reason leaving is to be more mobile and to focus more on YouTube. We're going to put more resources in getting our word out through a different platform on YouTube. And that can be streamed in a way that can reach a broader listenership.
Yeah, and I think also people should realize, like you said, we were on radio a bunch of years ago now. Went to the podcast format during COVID and came back out and decided to do radio. And it's been a good run also. So yeah, so it's not like we're doing this from our bathroom going forward. We have a very nice podcast broadcast system set up. I think the quality will be good. It will still be as good as we have here. So nothing's going to degrade. Not like a garage band where we're going to suddenly, everything's going to sound bad. So we have all the tools and technology to get it out to everybody. And no, it's been a very good experience. I mean, and again, we're leaving here, but we're not going away. But it's very true. I've met a lot of folks through here, and really it's been fun. It really has been. It's been a good time. So we're going to hope to keep it going, just not on the live format. I won't be able to say don't touch that dial. Well, I probably still will.
Yeah, you can still.
Yeah, I'll still say it. Why do I care? But no, hopefully going forward, people will jump over to YouTube and listen. And I do think people do consume information in smaller packets, perhaps, than they used to. For all of us, I'd say. So if we can give something that they can listen to during the ride from the house to the office, but an hour of us, even though it goes by fast for us, it's still a long time as far as listening goes, and to be able to dedicate that time. So we'll give them an option. Hopefully they'll stick with us.
Yeah, and that's the hope, right? I mean, and for us, to continue to create good content, content that's well needed, good information that most people don't know of. When I start going off on all the things that I've learned from going to these committees in the Senate and the House and learning how everything's going, they're just like, holy cow, I've never known that. And it's not such an open fact that people will understand or know, especially all the stuff that we've been talking about and why the laws changed, how it shifted, and how the governor got bought out. I voted for the guy twice. I'm a Republican. I wish I could just be an independent guy because I'm for the little guy. I'm for the deregulation that the Republicans are supposed to be for here in the state of Florida. But all we see is just, more regulation for contractors and deregulation for insurance companies, being that they are the biggest donators, I guess they're the third. I guess tobacco and some of these other, realize how big tobacco is. You got to remember that. But the third, the top three biggest spenders are the insurance lobby. And man, I mean, we've always said that they've just kind of, chipped away. They play the long game and they slowly chip it away. But man, they hit a big boulder on this guy. It just happened the sun to be shining right on that dog's ass at that point in time in 2022, where our governor decided, hey, let me run against Trump as president. And and I think I have a good shot. And then you got the dumb insurance companies in the state of Florida who were quote unquote in the middle of a financial crisis when they were not really, and we all know that. But they pooped out $100 million to give to Governor DeSantis to run for president. And most people don't know that. Most people challenge me on it. I literally say, it made the paper, right? I can type it in and show you. And then also what made the paper, but barely, is that he changed the laws the day before that he had to step down as the Florida governor if he said that he was running for president. So he changed the law on, let's say, Monday or Tuesday. On Wednesday, he says, hey, I'm running for president. And he didn't have to step down because he had the law changed. Nobody knew about it. He had the laws changed prior to him accepting that $100 million that he doesn't have to report on his expenditures. You know what? Neither him or his cabinet had to report any of his expenditures that year. And so during that time, he also then was threatening the Republicans that were saying, hey, if you don't vote my way between 2022 and 2023, that I will run somebody in the primaries that will do my bidding, and you will lose out your seat altogether. And so you're supposed to have this separation of powers. You're not supposed to have the governor running as a dictator and with all the power.
Now, the thing is, though, now you always be saying to yourself right now, that seems really bleak, Richie. That's a really, I'm sad now. You've brought me down. I was having a good day, and now I'm having a bad day. But, and we talk about voting a lot, and we talk about the power of the vote. And it feels like it's hard to, it does feel like it's hard to make, every vote matters. It feels hard to make a difference in the more of the general elections, where when it's for the Senate, the senators, either in federal or state or House of Representatives. But here in Florida, there is another cabinet level position, which is the CFO. And there's a guy running named Frank College who's going to run on the Republican side on August 18th, which is the day of the primaries. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Republican primaries.
Republican primary. And there's only two guys running on the Republican side. One of them was appointed by DeSantis, so he's going to do what DeSantis says. Other one is a gentleman named Frank College, who we've had on the show before. We've gone and met with. And we think he even says, I don't even need new laws. We just got to enforce the ones we have. And the reason it becomes so important, and keep this in mind, is that every time you say, geez, I can't believe my insurance company raised my rate. I can't believe they changed my policy. None of that happens without the CFO's appointed person, the Office of Insurance Regulation. They have to approve everything. They can't charge you another nickel unless they get approved by the state. They can't put in these matching endorsements and these limitations and all these things without the state approving the policy. So what you need is, this is actually a time where something that actually hits you. Politics should be local, right? I mean, it should impact you somehow directly. I get national defense, and I get this, I get that. But how often can you stop and say, this impacts me directly? It's hard to do. But if you vote for Frank College as a Republican in a Republican primary and he wins, he's going to become CFO because there's no Democrat running at all. So we're asking you to vote for a Republican, for all the conservative folks out there, including myself. I'm a Republican also. to vote for someone who will help enforce the existing laws and bring those premiums back down and not allow the insurers to just do whatever they want to do. So this is a time where you can say, if I vote for this guy, there's a direct direct financial, well, physical too, because you'll feel better, a financial reward to you for actually following through with what the statutes say. So don't forget, Frank College for CFO.
That's right. And some people, and I love how Frank talks about this too. It's like, and they were trying to make it to where this, I forgot the guy's, Blaise Ngolia.
There you go.
Is the current CFO that was appointed by DeSantis when our previous CFO somehow went up to Congress or whatever. So the previous guys just it was let me just say this. He received $3.5 million from the insurance lobby. So what do you think he was going to do?
Right.
I mean, he just does the bidding of whatever the insurance companies wanted him to do. So he was just a puppet. Thankfully, he's out of the seat. But his predecessor is no different, doing the same thing. Whatever DeSantis was set up, just in between for the insurance lobby to do whatever they want him to do. Right. And that's not who we need at the helm of this, especially when we need somebody that's tough. We need them to be able to kick back to insurance companies, the 500 insurance companies that are registered to do business here in the state of Florida. Yeah. I believe last time I looked on Office of Insurance Regulation website, there's about like 900 and change insurance companies able to do business here in Florida. Obviously, you have your ones that are just auto, and you have your ones that are just property, and you have your ones that do both. So for property, it was about half of that, right? I mean, a lot of car carrier insurance companies. I guess the General only does car. Anyways, whatever. So you have these. So you think about it. I'm like, because really, when you're looking at doing and getting insurance, all you think of is the top 10,
right?
But you don't know that there's like 40 times more than the top 10 out there. I mean, you're thinking 400 insurance companies. I mean, when you think about just the A's and the B's, it's like, okay.
I mean, reality is nobody thinks of loggerhead.
Right.
But in fact, you're a loggerhead, aren't you?
I am.
Right.
My personal house.
There you go. I mean, so there's a company you can say to yourself, who?
Yeah.
But I've had cases with them. They've been very good to work with. You have them on your own policy. That's a company you would not have thought of potentially ever.
No.
Unless your agent happens to have loggerhead or manatee.
That's another new one, right? Yeah. I mean, when I was looking at a list the other day, I was just looking at some of the ones on my my list, and I was just like, okay, I mean, there's AAA, there's AMCAP, American Coastal, ASI, Progressive, and this, and then I'm like, man, that's a lot of A's, and I'm like, okay, and then you got B's, you got Bankers, you got this, and you're just like, holy cow, there's a lot of B's, and then you're just like, oh my God, you're in Citizens, and you're like, wow, man. I'm like, you know what? There are a lot of insurance companies out there, and that's why we talked about, getting with an agent that has 25 or 30 or whatever, and you're shopping agencies as well. And I'm also guilty of, ending up having a good relationship with my agent, and I don't want to switch, Right. But in the same, I'm like, hey, did you get any new carriers on? And so I'm a little bit more open now to shop my insurance, even though they're a good friend of mine, mostly because all of these new things that I have to look out for. It's a full-time job to do your renewal. Even when I first signed at the loggerhead, that was my biggest thing. I was like, I don't want this and this and this. And then when we came up to renewal, I caught it in time, but they were going to auto renew me with the $10,000 cap unless I use a preferred pretender. Right. And I was like, I'm not doing that, because then I'm just trapped. I have $10,000 to use some other monkey that I have no idea. Right. And I mean, like, they're going to send, this insurance company is going to send this person out with probably no insurance, no good reviews. Mostly every one of their people have no reviews, or all bad reviews. No Better Business Bureau rating at all. Right. They're just the worst of the worst. So I don't want that in my policy. That's something for me that's a no-go. Outside of that, there's that matching statute, or excuse me, the matching provision. Yeah. We talk about limitations. We talk about caps.
Roof schedules.
Yes. Limitations, caps, different schedules, which in my opinion, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't think it's legal. You're the attorney here, but me as a policyholder that would purchase this, I would look at the statute and say, no, the statute says that I have to be offered the replacement cost value in ordinance and law. And if that's all they're offering is a specific policy, well, I would say BS. You can't do that because the statute says you must offer me this.
Yeah.
And it's an HO3 policy, so show me where. At least if you're saying, okay, I have this policy with this, with it, and I have this without it, your choice. Well, and I sign off a little rider that says such.
Right. Well, I mean, but that is exactly what we talked about with Frank College and the issue of the Office of Insurance Regulation. Someone at Office of Insurance Regulation should not be rubber stamping these endorsements and these policy forms. If someone there at that level should be going, whoa, wait a minute. The statute says you have to offer the same policy without these endorsements. I don't know if they do or not, but I know the state's not enforcing those requirements to give you an informed option when that time comes.
Yeah, I don't think the state's enforcing anything.
No.
And I've heard that from a third party of an attorney. Basically, it's a friend of mine that's good friends with an attorney that works in the Office of Insurance Regulation, and they're like, they don't do anything. They're just like, they scale down. They don't do anything. They're told not to do anything. It's a bare minimum.
Yeah.
And they're definitely not enforcing stuff. Their complaints are out there. I mean, anybody can look at the amount of complaints, and we've said it on the show before. It's like the amount of complaints against the insurance companies are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of complaints. And I think there was under 100, like 99 or under 100 complaints against contractors. We've done that comparison before, and we're looking at the numbers, because I was going to say tens of thousands of complaints, but that's tens of thousands of complaints monthly or yearly or whatever it is. But there's many complaints on against insurance company behavior and very little against the contracting groups. And so we continue to see that type of offset, but what we end up hearing when we go to Tallahassee, and Hans, you being a part of the Florida Justice Association and their property damage side of things, they're referred to as the trial bar, and we've had our governor talk about the trial bar publicly. We've had the CFO talk about the trial bar before, all in negative ways too.
Yes. And I guess somehow I'm part of the problem.
You are, apparently.
The guy who shows up every day and has people come see him when their worst time with their own insurer won't pay them for their benefits so they can fix their home. I get that done, and that's how I feed my family. Last time I checked, it doesn't make me a bad guy.
No, it makes them the bad guy for causing all of this and making that, that position available that you do every day to help homeowners, because it's unfortunate. They create their own and they wonder why, create their own issues by not paying valid claims. And that's what we see all the time. And the problem is, and I think they know this too, is that they've pulled out all the senior adjusters, being, prior to 2016, 12 years of no hurricanes.
Yeah.
And no dramatic storm seasons, so to speak, that hit the whole state like we started to see. Really, 2016 we had Matthew, but 2017 was Irma. Hit majority of the state, kind of went up the center, started from Key West all the way up, and then shot out the east side. So then we had, then we had Michael, and then we had Sally, and then it's like all these named storms, boom, boom, boom. And what they did is in that time of 12-year period or more of no storms, they got rid of a lot of the senior adjusters. Yeah. They got rid of the folks that knew what was going on, and they continue to bring these first-year people to undertrain them, and only enough to say, well, this is how you get by, and it's just the bare minimum. Yeah. You're going to write for a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You're going to contest all of this stuff because you're going to save the company money, thereby getting you better numbers. Right. Right.
No, it's very true. I mean, we see that a lot. I mean, basically what we look at is for every 10 denials, we figure maybe one half of 1% or a couple percent of people actually call a guy like me and go, I just don't think that's right. Because as we talk about, the insurance companies know how to count money. They know how many people are going to contest it, because that's how they determine how much they're going to pay on the front end. If everyone contested it, they'd start paying a little more money. But as long as people don't contest it and just go, well, we made a claim, I guess that's all we can do, then and the insurer knows they're going to go away. And a couple of them will write back and go, no, we disagree. Then they'll hire an engineer that they bought and paid for, who'll come out and say, no, nothing wrong with your roof. Or if there is, it's not because of the storm or some event. And people then believe engineers because they want to believe them. And then you got the couple left who then actually go, no, that's not right either, and call a guy like me or someone who handles this type of work. So they know what that's going to be, and they know that at the time they send the letters, and they know, am I going to be just under the deductible, or am I going to be just over the deductible, so at least they get a check.
Right.
And that's psychology.
Well, that's why they want to silence us contractors, is because if we have this knowledge and we tell the homeowner, say, listen, this is how we've seen this industry go, or this is how we've seen this type of claim go, or this type of damage to get repaired or covered, that kind of thing. They've tried to silence us, and you've seen the law changes in their attempts every year, and even 2020, where they did get Senate Bill 76 through, and that had the most gnarly solicitation language in there, and it was contested. Our group filed suit against it. We held it up for years and years because it's not right. It said that a roofer can't knock on a door and give anything of value in exchange for the roof or for
roof inspection.
Right, that leads to a payment through the claim for roof repairs or replacement. And so that was an obvious attempt for the insurance company to say, we don't want you informing homeowners that this damage up here could be related to this data loss that's covered under their policy of insurance.
Right.
They didn't want us to tell the insured, say, hey, I know you're getting these letters all the time. Don't sign this, whatever like that. But if you sign this, I can help you.
Right.
And there are a majority of the good, you hear, just a very small spoil the bunch, a small bit of group. And that really is, because this association have had an immense amount of members, all good people, all would not screw homeowners over. They always put homeowners first. And they offer this information for a homeowner to help them out, especially if it was something that happened that wasn't, in their purview, right? They have a 6-year-old roof, a hurricane comes over. They weren't saving up for this.
Right. Well, I mean, I think one thing with the whole idea with the roofers knocking, if not a roofer, who? If not, then when?
Sure.
After a storm, so keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you have a duty to mitigate your damage under your policy. You literally, if you turn someone down to inspect your roof, the insurer can come back to you and go, you had an opportunity to protect your home and you chose to not take it by not letting them up on your roof.
That's
there
right.
You go.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing to have a professional come out and check it. And if it's related to a date of loss, then absolutely that's where Hans Kennon comes in, a public adjuster comes in. We've had those folks on here to talk to you about who to call in case of if you think you have a claim. We've had public adjusters offer free inspections. It might be one of the folks that comes out to knock on your door on that, and I think it's something you should do. It's no charge to have them come out and look, but they always try to silence us, and there's a reason for it. It's because it's helpful to the insured, and that's what we're here to do. So we want to thank you so much for our farewell show. Hope you follow us over to our YouTube page. Hans, we'll, have everybody check us out over on our YouTube page. Check us out, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. Thanks and farewell.
We'll see you there.